skinwalkers, mysterious figures roaming through the wilderness alone in the middle of the night, and ghastly forms bobbing in the river in the dark. So just what in the hell are we looking at here? I don't know, but I can say for sure that I don't like it. They look like the ghost girl from Ringu poking her head out of the water. They're pale with long black hair covering most of their faces, if these even are faces we're looking at here. It's hard to tell. You'll also notice they seem to have glowing, reflective eyes. So the story behind this clip is that back in April of this year, a trail cam was set up right at the edge of a river where locals had been experiencing strange things, telling stories of dark spirits lurking in the water. Now, as for where the footage comes from, I've seen comments saying it's a river called Namor Ong. I tried to look up Namor Ong and I can't find any info on that place, so please let me know in the comments if you know anything about that or if Namor Ong even exists at all. Anyway, a pretty spooky clip. This next piece of trail cam footage comes from a TikToker named The Most Mandy, who posted this eerie footage captured by the security camera outside her home in the Appalachian Mountains. So we see a figure in a long white robe moving across her property, at one point saying, "Let me in this very craggly, almost witch-like voice. She gets closer and closer to the house until the motion sensors go off and she retreats back into the shadows. Here's another clip taken by a camera at another part of the house. We can hear the woman better in this clip, not that we really want to. Well, you know what? She sold me. I'd have let her in. I mean, how could anyone turn down such a soothing, friendly voice like that? Back in June, a hunter placed a trail camera in the woods expecting to pick up animals. Instead, he captured this odd scene. At about 2 a.m., a figure wearing what looks like a long dress steps out from the shadows and passes the camera. Who was this person and what were they doing in the middle of the woods at 2 in the morning? Well, they were running from someone or something. As the video continues, we see a dark mass crawl out of the depths of the thicket. As the thing gets closer, we notice it's crawling. It looks like it has long dark hair and reflective eyes. The rest of its face is hard to make out, but there's something not quite right about whatever this thing is. This next video is also captured by a trail cam in the Appalachian Mountains. It was posted by Elizabeth Maynard 98, who captured something incredibly unsettling moving across her property, and there were a pair of them. When they first pass by, it's hard to make out what these things are, but they're clearly walking on all fours. They move off camera before turning around and passing the camera again, this time walking on their hind legs, looking much more humanoid, but no less disturbing. They're incredibly thin with glowing eyes and look to be hairless, almost like your classic stereotypical alien. They also walk with this very unnatural gait, taking these itty-bitty little steps, almost like they're not used to walking upright. Some commenters also think these creatures look like rakes, skinwalkers, or possible wendigos, but what do you all think? This is a very strange post from about 9 months back by Reddit user What Did You Do, Ray, who was seeking out help about the odd behavior he was experiencing with his trail camera, writing, "This trail cam is at a Christmas tree farm in Bedford, Pennsylvania. There are no buildings, lights, or structures in the area at all where this cam is. Every night for the past 2 months, my cam takes a picture at exactly 12:05 and 1 second in the AM. There is never anything in the pics. No deer, squirrels, foxes, etc. Recently, the pictures have shown a red light being cast across the top of the trees. One pic shows the red light to be extremely bright and def in a circle around the trees. And then there is the picture from March 5th of 2024 that shows 2 blurs, one directly above one of the trees and a very similar blur to the right on the ground just off the road. The odder thing is that this picture's timestamp is at 12:05 and 2 seconds. It's the only picture in the entire series of pics from the past 2 months that was taken 1 second later. Now, he also posted in the comments later that he'd switched the camera to take video instead of pictures at one point, and that the camera would successfully take video at any other time of day except 12:05 a.m., where it wouldn't take video when the sensor went off at that time, only taking a picture. Definitely strange. So the question is, what's causing this camera to go off? Well, something was hovering above the trees, casting a red light at the exact same time of night every night for 2 months. So this image was posted to Reddit by user PHFM. 4 months ago, with the caption reading, "Friend's trail cam in North Carolina." Now, I would be pretty alarmed knowing this thing was lurking around in the dark anywhere near me. The immediate thought is, well, that doesn't look right. This is a hairy creature standing on 2 legs, must be Bigfoot. Well, probably not. I mean, this could easily be a black bear. Bears do stand on their hind legs, and it could be hunching over, which is why you can't see its head, but even still, there's just something creepy about this image. It just looks oddly human to me. It's the best way I can describe it. What do you think though? Bear, Bigfoot, werewolf, skinwalker, and mid-transformation? Let us know in the comments. Back in July of this year, the Instagram account Lower Florida Bucks posted this series of images here with the description reading, "I've had some strange trail cam pics sent in through the years, but these from Roberts Lowell might just take the cake." He got pics of this person/creature on 2 separate cameras and swears they're legit. He also said these were taken on a property 12 miles from the nearest town. What do y'all make of it? And that's a very good question. What do you make of whatever this is? It's hard to make anything out because of how blurry the figure is. Clearly it was darting around at a good speed. I can say this though, it doesn't look human, at least not exactly. This next Reddit post is from 2 months back. JT245 writes, "Hello. After looking at some old photos from a trail camera, I noticed a silhouette in the background and a white spot on the second photo. My brother was alone and has no explanation. What are your theories?" Now, take a real close look at these images and see if you can spot anything. It's hard to notice at first, but look at the middle right-hand side of the first image. We'll zoom in and circle it for you. Okay, so it's a shape that sort of has a form you might be able to recognize as a person, maybe. This wouldn't be all that strange on its own, but now take another look at the second picture. Whatever that shape is, it isn't there anymore. Now, I couldn't spot the white spot the uploader described in the second picture, but if you can find it, let us know down in the comments. But that figure is kind of strange. It's pretty small. Some people have said it looks like almost maybe it could be a fae. I don't know. So this next story may be not a creature captured on trail cam, but it's equally, if not more disturbing. This woman here was captured on a deer cam in the woods, going back and forth in the dark for hours, barefoot. The owner of the property was pretty alarmed when he saw the images, making a post online about it, reading, "Does anyone recognize this girl/woman? She appeared on my trail camera in July of this year at 5 a.m. She was barefoot and appears to be running. She isn't in any trouble with me, just curious who she is, what she was doing, and if she's okay. If you recognize her, please message me. I've been baffled by this for a month, mainly because the woods can be tough walking with boots. I contacted police as soon as I discovered the photos. They were baffled as well." Now, some commenters say she may just have been on a run, but apparently there are no trails nearby, and the area she was running in has a thicket that the property owner's dog won't even go through. It's just thick vegetation. No one would be wandering through there, especially at night barefoot. So it's just all very strange and kind of concerning. At the time of this recording, Redditor Apart Operation 329 just made this post a little over a week ago with the caption, "Humanoid found on trail cam." They went on to write, "My friend sent this to our group chat a while back. I don't know why I just now bothered to post it, but I wanted to know if anyone here could identify this thing. We can't tell if it's a person or not. Not sure if this is the right sub to put this in, but any help is appreciated." Now, what we see here is immediately off-putting. To me, this thing looks way too strange and thin to be human, but a lot of commenters mention that the figure does look like a human woman, just a really thin woman who probably isn't okay. It looks like she may have wounds on parts of her body, and she's clearly emaciated. Some think this person may have needed help and that the uploader should contact the police, but I don't know what good that will really do. Personally, it's hard to make anything out from this image, and it's from 2022. So this was someone in distress. I just hope they made it home okay. Just what in the hell is this thing? This video was posted about a year back to Reddit by user PantyDinner2003, love it, with the heading, "Is this a skinwalker?" And it shows some dudes filming a field in Louisiana. In the field you see some deer and a couple small black shapes that almost appear to be dogs. Now, I like this already because clearly these guys have a reason to be filming. They're getting footage of the scenery and wildlife. With so many of these videos, you'll just see like some someone just filming something and you're like, why are you even filming this in the first place? Other than if you're hoaxing a scary video. Anyway, then out of the trees comes this thing, which to me looks like it's galloping, but whatever this thing is, it's not a horse, but it doesn't look human either. It looks like it's running using its front arms maybe. They clearly look elongated. It's very strange. And at first I wasn't so sold on the cameraman's reaction. He's like, what the frick? Is that a guy?
What the frick? Is that a guy?
It just seemed like it was bad acting, but then they all started laughing nervously, and it seems like they were just in genuine shock and confusion at first. Anyway, this is an interesting video, but what do you all think? These images were posted to Reddit by user Perplexed Seal, along with a story during an AMA about skinwalkers. Perplexed Seal wrote, I was around a fire with friends, and one of my friends told us about an experience they had with one before. I now know that you should not discuss these things in a setting like I was, next to dense forest as the sun was setting. As soon as she finished the story, she asked what was behind me. There was a tall white thing in the field right next to the woods behind it. It was pretty far away, but it felt like it was watching us. It looked like it was swaying or walking toward us. I got a gut feeling as soon as I saw it. I almost felt like puking. I watched it as my friend turned on their car, and as soon as they did, I saw it stand up on two legs, about 6 or 7 feet tall, and hide behind a bush. I drove home because I was spooked, but my friend stayed and later saw it running in circles in the field very fast before disappearing into the trees. The Reddit user later commented that their friends were able to snap a picture of the creature and they attached the images to the post. Tell me what y'all think this is. Yeah, just what is that thing? We only get a really super quick glimpse of it, but it's enough time to realize that it's something really wrong, and yeah, I'd just be gone. Gone as in running out of there, or gone as in dying of a heart attack. I'm not sure which, but either way, not sticking around in that forest. This clip was posted to Reddit by HasBeen42 with the title, My Friend Recorded a Potential Skinwalker. And yeah, potentially. Gotta say though, HasBeen42, I think your friend recorded a potential chud. Let's throw up a picture of a chud from the 1984 classic creature feature, Chud. Looks pretty similar to me. The glowing yellow eyes, the lack of hair. I don't know. Maybe there's some chuds running around in the forest where these guys live. I would move. This eerie CCTV footage was taken in Mexico and the days leading up to Halloween. The homeowner heard some strange noises coming from his garage and decided to check on his dogs, but they were totally silent. As he walked into the garage, the surveillance footage caught something unsettling. A bizarre figure crouched behind one of the parked cars. At first, it's on all fours, but then it suddenly stands up on two legs. One of the man's dogs notices the thing, which seems to stretch and grow longer limbs as it lurks behind the cars. The man then approaches it, and as he gets closer, the figure ducks down. The guy went off to find his wife. By the time they got back, the thing had, I guess, stood up and walked out of sight. It looks like it's really hard to make out what this figure is. Its shape really does seem to change and morph throughout the video. If it is a person, they're incredibly slender. Some speculated that the thing was a Nahual, though, a creature from Mesoamerican folk religion with the power to shapeshift into animals. Well, this isn't what you'd want to see on your pleasant night drive through an empty grassy field at night. Take a look. Now, I don't know where this video originally came from. If any of you know, please let the rest of us know in the comments. All I can talk about is what I observed in the footage, which is someone spotting what looks like a naked man crawling through some grass in the middle of the night in a field somewhere, which, you know, that's not out of the ordinary at all. By the sounds of it, there's a woman behind the camera as we hear her gasp when she spots the thing. Then she starts rightfully reversing out of there, not before honking her horn though, and that part I don't quite get. Monster or just a lone naked fella crawling on all fours, I would not want to be getting his attention, but maybe she hit it by accident. You know what we never get enough supposed real footage of or photos of? Werewolves or dogmen. We get Sasquatch stuff all the time, but not enough of the Rougarou style creatures. Well, just back in late June, this image right here surfaced. Definitely looks like a wolf to me, but look closer, you'll see something's off about it. Now, aside from the fact that the thing just looks vicious, its body doesn't look human by any means, but not exactly your standard canine either. It almost looks part wolf, part man, as if it's in mid-transformation. The picture was snapped by a camera trap in Maine. Is this just a particularly big, freaky looking wolf? Is it a hoax? Or could this actually be something a little more extraordinary in the truest sense of the word? All I know is the thing looks like it wants to tear off some faces. In 2022, Paranormality magazine, they gotta change the name of that magazine, Paranormality magazine, they posted this odd video to the website formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, not something you'd enjoy coming across in real life, probably give you a nightmare or two, even though the hunched over walk just makes whatever this thing is look severely constipated. The footage was taken from a security camera outside a house in Moorhead, Kentucky. Some people said the thing looked like it could be extraterrestrial, others thought it was a hoax, or just some weirdo skulking outside the person's home. Now, you'll notice the camera moves around even though this was supposedly taken on a still security camera, but this is actually the homeowner filming their monitor. This isn't actually the footage taken straight from the security camera itself. Anyway, like with everything else on this list, what are your thoughts on this? Was there a weird creature outside this person's house with a really tight back, or is this one just totally fake? Take a look at this goat walking on its hind legs. I feel like most people will probably fall into one of two camps with this one. Either you'll find it funny because it's an animal doing some weird quirky stuff, or you'll feel slightly unsettled watching it. Is this just a goat who for some reason decided to try walking on its hind legs to see if it could? Maybe it hurt its front legs? Or is this goat the devil incarnate? Maybe the creature's not even a goat at all, but a man with the power to transform into a goat, and then realizing he was in mid-transformation decided to walk into the barn to keep his magical powers a secret. I can say this for sure though, I'd have two starkly different reactions seeing this during the day versus seeing it at night. This video was posted to TikTok by Scary Videos 786, but it's a repost. Not sure where the original clip comes from, but this is a freaky one, real or not. So these two guys are holding up a big net, and you're like what's going on here? And then up from the stairs comes this hairy werewolf looking half man, half animal thing. It's pretty outlandish, and I mean, gonna take a wild guess here and say this one probably ain't real, but hey, the world's a strange and wonderful place sometimes. Who really knows? If this video is real though, I'd love to know what they did with the thing after they caught it. Because I'd be like, all right, we bagged a werewolf in a net. What exactly is the next plan of action? This unsettling video was shared by TikTok user CryptTalker. I don't know if this was captured on a trail cam or a CCTV cam or what. I just know that this thing is just ick. Some say it looks like a rake, others think it could be a skinwalker. What do you all think though? Other than it being a hoax, because that could always be the case. At first you may think it's just a person hunched over walking on all fours, but it's just too lanky. This person would have to be seriously unwell. And look at the way its head moves right here. I do not like this. Yeah, I just don't think a human neck can bend that way, especially being on all fours. I kind of wonder if I could recreate this video if I set up a camera at night and tried walking like this. Like, could I even mimic the gait of whatever this thing is, whether it's a creature or just a really talented person? I'd like to try. I also don't really have the time or space to do it without making the neighbors very uncomfortable, so I'll probably just refrain.
In our number 10 spot, we have Superman or UFO. You may not know this, but all of the top secret government information gets declassified after 25 years. Yes, after it's basically useless to know, as I'm sure there is much more relevant information to note. But sometimes, every so often, the government drops us little breadcrumbs to keep us on our toes. Whether the CIA is okay with it, well, we will never know. But earlier this year, 2022, a press conference was held to speak about some recent footage showing unidentifiable objects in the sky. This first video shows an object in the sky that's just sort of floating by, and then all of a sudden it zooms out of frame. The government has put more money into the study of this unidentifiable aerial object in the last while, but they still have no idea what is flying in this video. Is it not a bird or plane? And no, it is not Superman, I wish. Only of course if it's Henry Cavill though. Boy is he dreamy. This footage was out to the public more than a year ago before the Pentagon revealed that it's legitimate, and they probably only did so because of the pressure from the public to tell the truth. In our number 9 spot we have the US Navy UFO footage. Again, apparently the US Navy recorded some aerial footage where you see triangles flashing in the sky. The footage is recorded with night vision goggles, and it came right after the Navy reported a number of unidentifiable objects in the area off the US coast. What exactly these objects are remains unsolved. Clearly they are UFOs, but of course the CIA and the government will do everything they can to avoid saying those words. If it ain't from this planet, then it must be from somewhere else. I bet you an alien will actually land here at some point and they'll still be hesitant to admit the truth. An unidentifiable being was seen walking around, they'll say. In our number 8 spot we have Kenny Veach. This is a video of a guy by the name of Kenny Veach who went missing after going for a hike near the infamous Area 51. This video gained some popularity because in it, Kenny described that he was searching for a mysterious cave that he once came across where he felt a very strange force field around it. He described how he felt like he was getting hot from the inside, and as he got closer to it, it got worse, and so he quickly ran away. In this video, he's on the hunt for the cave again, but after the video was posted, Kenny went missing. He was on a 3-day hiking trip to find this cave when suddenly everyone stopped hearing from him. There are many conspiracy theories over this. Some say he found the cave, and if it really did have that force field around it, then it could have obliterated him. People believe that this cave and force field is linked to the mysteriousness of Area 51. Even though Kenny's girlfriend shared that Kenny had depression and suspects that he took his own life, we don't know if that's real or not, as the CIA could be covering up for the fact that Kenny found a way into Area 51. It's super sus that everyone seemingly onto something just takes their own life. In our number 7 spot we have Isaac Cappy. Isaac Cappy is an American actor that was best known for being in Thor and a bunch of other prominent productions. He's also best known for being a Hollywood whistleblower and speaking about what goes on in Hollywood. You know, the Harvey Weinstein goings on, that kind of thing. Calling out such names as Seth Green and Steven Spielberg. Isaac started to receive death threats and spoke about how he might be killed. Then all of a sudden he made a video talking about how there's now darkness within him and that this video would be his last video. He also spoke about how he was not thinking about taking his own life, in case anyone says that he is, which is what makes this video even more curious. There is much speculation as to whether he ended up taking his own life or whether he was actually killed. All that's clear is this last video of him and all of his YouTube content has been suppressed online. Why? Perhaps because they don't want what he previously spoke about to be public knowledge. Perhaps. In our number 6 spot we have Obama's security shapeshifter. In 2012, at the US-Israel Policy Conference, President Obama was making a speech, and while he was doing so, the cameras caught something very extraordinary. Every so often the cameras would pan out into the audience and show the audience, of course, but also the security guards. In one shot, the camera catches one of the bodyguards from behind, looking completely different than he did from the front. We see a bald man with no ears and a pointy chin. His nose looks short and rounded, and his eyes appear to be dark and sunken in. Most think that because it was so dark and crowded that people would have missed this, and that the camera caught this shapeshifter in a blip of a moment in its true form. But of course, this footage has been suppressed from the public, and people believe the CIA is concerned with this getting out because it confirms an alien race. In our number 5 spot we have the time traveler from 1938. In this clip we see a group of girls walking and talking, and one of the girls in particular is walking and talking into what looks to be a cell phone. Yes, a cell phone in 1938. The first cell phone is only known to have been invented in 1973, so the fact that she's talking on what looks to be a flip phone is impossible. right? Well, even though this video has made its rounds online, it's still quite suppressed, and it's surprising how people have still not seen it. Could it possibly be due to the fact that it exposes that time travel may exist? That would certainly be concerning to the CIA. Which brings me to our number 4 spot, the 1928 time traveler. This video clip is from an older movie and time than the time traveler clip before, but it is no less suspicious. It is yet another clip that has been suppressed due to the nature of it possibly being concerning to the CIA or anyone wanting time travel to be covered up. It's a clip from a Charlie Chaplin movie called The Circus, where a rather fancy dressed woman is talking into a device that is being held to her ear. Now you could say, could that not be a walkie-talkie if not a cell phone? Nope. Even the walkie-talkie wasn't invented until the 30s. This woman is without a doubt talking into a device held to her ear, and so if it is not a portable phone, then I have no idea what it is. What do you think she's holding in her hand and talking to? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. In our number 3 spot, we have the alleyway shapeshifter. Okay, this is one of the craziest videos I've ever seen of a shapeshifter, and it's wild to me that this video has been suppressed. Well, maybe not wild, because I guess the shapeshifters clearly don't want people to know that they exist, and so, they throw themselves into movie plots like Captain Marvel so you don't think twice about the idea of their existence, and you chalk it up to an idea being something that you just see in movies. So I suppose it's not that surprising that this video is not more known. Anyways, here we have footage of a person that goes into an alleyway that is semi-lit and stands still, and then what appears to be a dark shadow leaves its body and walks away, and the person remains frozen. This clip has been heavily debated for some time now, but apparently it's completely authentic and kinda unexplainable. Of course, the CIA would be concerned about it. In our number 2 spot, we have the NBC Shapeshifter. This is a crazy clip from 1995 that is one of the first reptile men clips you can find on the internet. If you haven't ever heard of the theory of the reptile man, well, it goes like this. People believe that as far back as the ancient Mesopotamia times that reptile people have existed among us humans. A lot of people believe that Hollywood is specifically where a lot of them reside. Anyways, this is a clip of an NBC reporter from the 90s by the name of Isaiah Carrey, who was in the middle of filming when he swallowed a grasshopper. If you zoom in to the point where he swallows it, you can observe him having an abnormally large, somewhat pointy tongue, and the color is slightly green. The reporter turned away from the camera right as this happened. Most people think that he turned away from the camera to hide his tongue, which is possible, but one could argue that it's more likely because this is something so gross and embarrassing that happened on live TV. Do you think this is a reptile man, and perhaps the CIA has suppressed this video due to the fact that it could reveal this alien race? Let me know in the comment section down below. In our number 1 spot, we have the fast UFO. This is more footage that the US government released showing an unidentifiable object in the sky. In this footage, you actually see an object moving in the sky, and we can kind of pick up on the fact that it's an unusual shape. This particular UFO is moving pretty fast, and the camera is having a hard time keeping up. There's no question though that this is something that we've never seen before. The Pentagon wouldn't have released it if it didn't feel that it has validity. This was the final of the 3 Pentagon videos that were declassified and shared with us common folk. Oh, why thank you government for telling us that it's possible that alien life has come to Earth. As if we didn't already know this, and as if we are not aware of the fact that you definitely have more footage that you're keeping from us, CIA. In our number 10 spot, we have the Queen of England. Okay, your girl is British, and being so, us Brits just have a soft spot for the Queen, but apparently the rest of the world doesn't, and everybody seemingly thinks she's a shapeshifter reptilian hybrid. So that was news to me. Not only just the Queen, but a lot of people speculate over the entire royal family being reptilian hybrids. The reason being due to some footage that surfaced online that showcased the Queen being dressed in one of her cute outfits. But then all of a sudden they zoom in on her eye, and you see her eye looking completely creepy. Honestly, the footage is terrifying, and I've watched enough horror movies in my life to recognize a demon when I see one, and her eye looked just a tad bit demon-like. Apparently people have said that her eye was just bloodshot. But yeah, I don't know about that excuse. They really should have said that she had some kind of eye disease, because that I would believe. I've had a bloodshot, probably at least plus 10 times in my life, and I've seen bloodshot eyes several times, and never have I ever seen anything that looks like that. Her entire eye is bloody looking. Honestly, it's as if perhaps someone punched her in the eye, except there's no swelling. It's very strange. So anyways, I see why people think she's possibly a shapeshifter. In our number 9 spot, we have Katy Perry. Okay, this is some crazy footage, y'all. I have obviously heard of the theory that celebs are really just reptiles, but like, damn. Katy Perry? I love her. I don't want to believe it. You can't make me. Okay, but for real, even if she is a shapeshifter reptilian, is it possible that she's not a bad one? I say yes. Anyways, in this clip we see Katy Perry's eye shift from blue to green and her pupils become slits for a second before she seemingly notices and looks away from the camera. Very sus, Katy. In our number 8 spot, we have Dove Cameron. Dove Cameron is an actress and extremely talented singer, most notably known for her Disney Channel show Liv and Maddie and The Descendants. Her voice is angelic, and personally, I'm a big fan. But regardless of my feelings, people speculate that she is a shapeshifter, or that a shapeshifter has taken over her body. One or the other. There is some recent footage of her doing an interview on the red carpet, and in this interview she has a moment where it seems as if she shifts a little. When you zoom into her eyes, it appears as if for a second her eyes reveal her pupils suddenly turning into a slit, just for a second, before turning back. It's really quite fast, but if you slow down the footage and zoom in closely, you can see it clear as day. So perhaps she has something weird going on with her eye, or perhaps she's actually a shapeshifter. Probably the latter. In our number 7 spot, we have Beyonce. Many are very suspicious of Beyonce apparently, and I had no idea. Apparently she is one of the most suspicious of the Hollywood celebs that people are pretty certain is a shapeshifter reptile, and it's because of a few different shots of her that reveal some pretty wild things. Apparently in one shot you see Beyonce singing, and suddenly the side of her face almost looks scaly. In another shot, Beyonce is dancing on stage and whipping her hair around, and for a millisecond you can literally see her face transform into a demon. I'm not joking, it's terrifying, and it's probably real. It's hard to believe her heavenly voice is even human, so most likely she's from out of this world. What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. In our number 6 spot, we have Antique Roadshow Reptile. In this video, captured on camera, it is a regular episode of the BBC show The Antiques Roadshow, when, in the background, the camera captured a man staring at the camera. His eyes appear pretty large, being opened quite wide, and if you zoom in, it looks as if his pupils have slits. His eyes resemble a snake's eyes, revealing that he is obviously a shapeshifter snake. He doesn't appear to be with anyone, just hanging in the background, smirking at what he's observing. It's crazy to see this on camera, but I wonder if anyone has actually seen this in person. My suspicious brain would probs not even believe anyone, even if they did claim that they saw this in real life. I'd be like, show me that proof, or nothing. I'll just be sad. In our number 5 spot, we have the NBC shapeshifter. In 1995, there was reportedly an NBC News reporter by the name of Isaiah Carrey who was in the middle of filming when he allegedly swallowed a grasshopper. What's eerie about this video is that if you zoom in, you can observe him having an abnormally large, somewhat pointy tongue, and the color is slightly green. The reporter had a very big reaction, which, I mean, if I swallowed a grasshopper, I would have screamed. Drama queen. But most people think that he turned away from the camera to hide his tongue, which does seem possible, but then again, no one wants to have something that gross documented on camera, so I would probably turn away too. Reptile or human? Probably reptile. In our number 4 spot, we have the Mexican schoolboy. In a video that was shared in September of 2018, there appears to be a boy and a girl, and a lot of chaos around them. Students leaving their seats and a lot of hustle and bustle when all of a sudden, the girl seems to turn into the boy, and the boy falls down and faints. She runs down the stairs, now as him, and then after 30 seconds on the ground, the boy, who's being approached by adults, he suddenly wakes up and begins to run at top speed away from the scene. Honestly, this one to me feels like it's straight out of a sci-fi show. I mean, at one part it does look like it's filmed on a phone, but for the most part it kind of gives me old Degrassi The Next Generation vibes, but maybe that's just me. Anyone else with me? But people say that it is real, and so all I have to say is that, damn. Yep, that's all I've got. In our number 3 spot, we have the shape-shifting goat. In 2009, Nigerian police actually arrested a goat as apparently someone had shape-shifted into it. It was caught by vigilantes who were chasing 2 men who were trying to steal a Mazda car. They claimed that one of the 2 men escaped while the other used black magic to transform into a goat. Okay, this one wasn't caught on camera, but I thought you had to be told about this because I'm tripping out. Reportedly, the police said one of them escaped and the other turned into a goat. We cannot confirm the theory, but the goat is in our custody. This is the best one I've ever done. We cannot base our information on something mystical. It is something that has to be proved scientifically that a human being turned into a goat. Okay, so anyone else kinda hoping this story isn't true only because then the story is that a bunch of police arrested a goat? Honestly, I'm good with either story being true. In our number 2 spot, we have the alien security guard. In 2012, at the US-Israel Policy Conference, while President Obama was making a speech, there were cameras that were circulating around the area and they were shooting footage of the audience. From the front view, we see 2 security guards standing in the aisle. They look like, you know, they're most likely CIA agents. But then a camera shoots the security guards from behind. And one of them in particular does not look human from behind, as well as the camera catches him looking completely different than he does from the front. We see a bald man with no ears and a pointy chin. His nose looks short and rounded, and his eyes appear to be dark and quite sunken in. Most people think that because it was so dark and crowded that people would have missed this, and that the camera caught this shapeshifter in a blip of a moment in its true form. Many have concluded from this footage that the US is in cahoots with an alien race. And at this point, I'm pretty convinced too. What do you think? In our number 1 spot, we have the alleyway shifter. Okay, this clip is crazy. This is footage of a person that goes into an alleyway that is semi-lit and stands still. And then what appears to be a dark shadow leaves its body and walks away, and the person remains frozen. This clip is so controversial and has been a point of debate for some time now, but I'm not sure what you can even debate. You can clearly see someone or something leave the body and the body stays frozen in place. This clip is one of the most seemingly real clips out of everything I saw, but apparently all of the footage is real. Interesting. Very interesting indeed.
Starting us off at the number 10 spot is the late Queen Elizabeth II. So it's no secret that there are quite a lot of people out there who are not fans of the royal family. And while for some it might just be about an overall lack of likeness towards the monarchy, there are many out there whose hatred stems from a deep-seated belief that everyone in the royal family are in fact shape-shifting lizard people. This all started from some footage that was found online of the Queen where some particularly strange eyes seem to appear out of nowhere. In the video, the Queen is standing at what appears to be a game of sorts, and then all of a sudden her eyes change to look almost like some sort of crazy demon. Immediately people were freaked and jumped to the conclusion that it was because she was a shape-shifting lizard. But others blew it off as just her having bloodshot eyes. Now, listen, I don't know about you, but I've never seen a bloodshot eye that was completely black before. I'm just saying. As you can imagine, this footage did not help the royal family's rep of being from the constellation Draco and only further cemented the belief that they are all evil lizards. What do you think? Coming in at number 9 is Katy Perry. So here's the thing about lizard people. They tend to be exclusively pinned on celebrities. Now there is some reasoning behind this. It's because the shapeshifters are supposed to be evil, and so they take over the bodies of celebrities or leaders in order to be able to have the power to wreak havoc on our world. One of the celebs that people swear is a lizard is none other than Miss Teenage Dream herself, Katy Perry. The footage that brought her into this world comes from an interview she she did years ago, where for just a millisecond it appears like her eyes change color from a sort of blue to green, and just for a second it looks like her pupils turn into slits. Oh, I should mention that apparently a calling card of these lizard people is that they have green eyes, so her eyes supposedly changing to green was seen as proof of her real lizard self peeking through. Suspicious? You tell me. Next up at number 8 is Rihanna. I refuse to believe that Riri could be an evil reptile alien sent here to wreak havoc and cause evil, because number 1, she's like the chillest human ever, and 2, I mean, she's Rihanna, so I don't want it to be true. But it looks like even the good ones aren't safe according to believers of the lizard people. The proof comes from some kinda sus footage from what looks like a live talk show or something, and even though it's a bit blurry, it does look like there's something weird going on. If you pay close attention, it does appear that her eyes turn into slits for just a millisecond before turning back to normal. I mean, should we be worried? Could she really be a lizard person? I mean, even if she was, she would easily be the most beautiful lizard person I've ever seen, so at least there's that. Coming in at number 7 is Angelina Jolie. From what I have come to understand about the conspiracy race of the shape-shifting reptiles that walk the earth with us, is that more often than not it is the eyes that give them away. Maybe their eyes are the hardest to control shape-shifting wise? I'm not totally sure, to be honest, but either way, there are definitely some strange videos out there with some weird things going on in the eyeball region. One of these videos is of A-lister Angelina Jolie. In this particular interview, you can see she's blinking her eyes a ton, which you might not think much of, but when you zoom in really tight and slow down the footage, you can see that there is a half a millisecond where it looks like her pupils elongate into slits before snapping right back into normal. My question is, does the blinking have anything to do with the trying to control their eyes from changing? Again, I have no clue what's true and have no facts to back that up, but the video is for sure a little strange. Next up at number 6 is Shakira. Once again, another pop princess with the voice of an angel has been accused of being one of the evil lizard people sent to destroy the planet. The clip that caused the uproar is from an interview a few years ago where, yep, you guessed it, her eyes slightly change shape for a millisecond. For starters, her eyes are already quite dark, so it's a little hard to tell at first, but when the video gets slowed down and you zoom in, I will admit I can kinda see where people are going with the whole eyes changing thing. There is a moment where it does kind of look like her pupils shift into a thinner shape, and dare I say the iris kind of goes more coppery? Is that a sign? I have no idea. Truth be told, it might not be quite as obvious as some of the other ones on the list, but nonetheless, there are many out there that insist she is among the shapeshifters. Apparently it's not just her hips that don't lie, but her eyes too. Coming in at number 5 is Lady Gaga. Okay, let me make one thing very clear. I'm a huge fan of Lady Gaga. Like, huge. I think she's an amazing artist and just a super badass person. All of that being said, I am fully aware that many people think she's a total weirdo, and like, if lizard people did turn out to be real, I could see why people would suspect Gaga to be one. I mean, if anything, what is more camp than being a shape-shifting reptile masquerading as a human, right? The main clip that brought Gaga into the suspect list of shapeshifters was from a live interview several years back, and just like almost every alleged lizard person, the clues were in her eyes. Now, first off, her eye makeup, gorgeous, but if you peer a little deeper into those eyes, you might notice something kinda looks off. She looks down for a second, blinks her eyes, and then just ever so slightly you can see that it looks like her pupils change shape and get slightly thinner for a second. Then boom, back to normal. Also, she did once say in an interview that she has always loved to shapeshift. I mean, she was talking about her hair and makeup, but was it a clue? Is this solid proof she's a lizard person from the constellation of Draco? I guess it depends on who you ask. Next up at number 4 is Isaiah Carrey. Several years back in 1995, there was a reporter for NBC who became an overnight sensation after a hilarious video of him swallowing a grasshopper aired during a live broadcast. People kind of fell in love with him because he had such a huge reaction and totally switched up his entire demeanor after he accidentally swallowed the bug. However, not too long after, some people noticed something was a little off about the video, and some even started to wonder if swallowing the bug was an accident at all. What's strange about this video is that if you pay close enough attention, kinda looks like his tongue is actually aiming for the bug, just like a frog reaching for a fly. Not to mention, he has quite a big tongue compared to most people, and it kinda looks a little pointy. Either way, after he swallows the bug, he immediately turns away from the camera, and some have suggested this is to hide any further evidence that he was actively shapeshifting at the time. But also, I would probably turn away from a camera if a bug flew into my mouth without warning too. I don't know, man. Either way, the video is hilarious, so let me know what you think. Evil reptile or funny human? Coming in at number 3 is a mysterious creature. So this video is definitely one of the weirder ones on this list, cause like actually what the heck is happening? Inside what appears to be some sort of cave, a pair of glowing orb eyeball things peek out from behind the wall, but when whoever is actually holding the camera advances on them, they quickly retreat back behind the wall. Like, not gonna lie, it's kind of creepy. The creature then continues to peek out to see if the cameraman is gone before stepping out completely, showing its unnerving form, and then suddenly bolting away deeper into the cave, never to be seen again. Now, the real question, of course, what is it? Is it a shapeshifter, a weird alien, some other weird thing we have never heard of or seen before? I mean, all I know is I would not want to see that alone in a dark cave by myself. I just have a bad feeling it would kill me and eat my flesh. I'm just saying. Coming in at number 2, a security guard. It goes without saying that presidents are not going to really go anywhere without their security guards. But what do we really know about their security? And if there is reason to believe that politicians themselves are a part of the alien lizard race, then wouldn't it make sense that their protection would be too? Well, speaking of, back in 2012, during a speech made by President Obama, footage of the audience captured a peculiar looking security guard in the crowd. At first glance, you might think it's just like a pale, bald dude standing there, but when they pan to the side, it straight up looks like he has no ears. I mean, what is going on here? It's giving Voldemort, if you ask me. Even weirder is when the video zooms in. If you really pay attention, it kind of looks like his head is pulsating, which, truth be told, I have no clue what that could be about, but lots of people have come forward saying it's definitely footage of him shapeshifting right before our eyes. I mean, would that mean that everyone in the CIA is a lizard person, or just a select few? I want to know how it's decided what people get taken over by the alien lizard overlords. What is their system is all. I'm just wondering. And last up today in our number 1 spot is Timothy Geithner. As I mentioned, it's not just A-list movie star celebs that have been accused of being a part of the lizard race taking over mankind. Among some of the most accused are politicians and even the staff that work under them. Former Secretary of the Treasury under President Obama's presidency is among one of those that some have come to believe is a dangerous lizard person hiding behind the face of a human man. The clip that raised some eyebrows and added him into the long list of potential involved personnel came from some kind of speech, and it definitely is very odd. Unlike most of the others on this list, it wasn't his eyes that had people questioning him, but the skin surrounding them. For a moment in the video, it looks like Timothy shifts into his reptile form, and the scales begin to show through the skin around his eyes, until suddenly he touches his face and it magically disappears. Like, could this be faked? I mean, of course it could, it's the internet. But like, was it? Or is it just a really super creepy video proving an alien race of lizard people? You tell me, man.
And we're gonna start this list off with the most common form of the skinwalker, the one seen in Navajo folklore. I'll have to apologize from the jump here because skinwalkers are not supposed to be discussed. It's said that they will hunt down whoever speaks them out loud, and details about skinwalkers are not something that the Navajo like discussing with outsiders. Because of this, there's a lot of mystery surrounding these entities, and most of the stories on this list probably don't resemble the more traditional aspects of the creature. But in general though, skinwalkers are malevolent entities that can take on the form of a variety of different animals, commonly wolves or coyotes. These creatures were formerly practitioners of dark magic, witches who committed particularly awful acts of some kind, like taking the life of a family member, for example. Skinwalkers are also said to be able to take on human forms, appearing as a friend or loved one. And at number 9, we have the Skinwalker on the Road legend. So there are a variety of different tales in this realm of Skinwalker folk, but these are probably the best examples of the more Anglo-American versions of the creature, veering away from the traditional Native American depictions. These types of stories are really what ignited the popularity of skinwalkers on apps like TikTok, for example, where you have found footage of a supposed skinwalker type creature lurking behind bushes or on the side of the road, stuff like that. In general, these stories feature someone driving down a desolate road at night. Maybe they see someone stranded on the side of the road. In some versions, they might pull over and get out of the car to help the person before realizing they've encountered a malevolent entity. Other versions are more subtle, where someone just sees something strange on the side of the road, a deer walking on its hind legs before running off into the forest while laughing, that kind of thing. Speaking of skinwalkers being featured in videos though, we have this next clip originally posted to TikTok by It's Louis Vuitton. In the modern era, especially with the rise of the internet, video has added a whole new layer to the way urban legends are spread, and creatures in traditional folklore sometimes make an appearance, creating a kind of new level of buzz around them. In this video, a few guys are driving down a quiet road in the dead of night, using their flashlights to try and spot a buck that one of them said they saw. In the distance, one of them spots some type of figure, thinking it may be the animal they spotted earlier. When they shine their light on it though, whatever it is looks too human to be a buck, but not normal enough to be human. A pale, slender creature that makes a terrifying screeching sound before it begins rushing towards the camera. In at number 7 is a skinwalker encounter story posted to Reddit by Schnizzly. It was almost midnight, and they lay inside their tent attempting to sleep. The tent was pitched near a cluster of standing dead trees, which would emit creaking sounds when the wind blew. This night, however, was oddly silent and motionless. Gradually, they started hearing the distinct noises of cracking sticks and footsteps drawing nearer over a span of about 15 minutes. The sounds were loud enough to convince them that a bear was approaching. The unseen presence came so close that it seemed no more than 15 feet away. The cracking sticks and soft steps persisted, and the Redditor, growing fearful, decided to shout out loudly. All they heard was an eerie silence, with no signs of the creature fleeing. They sat in silence, attempting to rationalize the situation, and about 20 minutes later, the silence was shattered by an unsettling, unnatural noise. It mirrored the timbre and volume of the trees creaking outside, but just didn't sound ordinary. The sound began and sustained the exact same note for a prolonged 5 seconds or even more. An unnatural kind of drone. There was no wind, and the noise had no correlation to the usual tree creaking sounds. They couldn't sleep the rest of the night. It wasn't until weeks later they made the connection that skinwalkers were known to imitate sounds in a similar manner. And at number 6, we have Chased. This story was just recently posted to Reddit by user Dog with Keyboard Woof. Apparently this happened in Western Cape, South Africa, 13 years ago. They wrote, "A friend of mine and I were 15 at the time. We were walking home at midnight in a small coastal town in winter, so there wasn't really anybody around. We heard dogs barking up ahead, and we thought, damn, those dogs can hear us all the way from down here. And we carried on walking when I got a weird feeling, but ignored it. As we got to the corner, in a split second we heard movement next to us and instinctively pulled away when a tall, like 7-foot plus, all white figure with no hair came out of the bushes. At this point, we were running away full speed. My friend even shouted at me to wait for him because I am a lot quicker. I turned around and I couldn't effing believe what I was seeing chasing behind him. We managed to zigzag our way around because we'd grown up here and we knew shortcuts and hid in a building site for hours before eventually running home. And at number 5, we have Saved by a Phone Call. I don't even care if this story was completely made up. It's a chilling one. It was posted to Reddit by user 20 Green Beans and goes as follows. Last night, I had definitely what will go down as one of my most bone-chilling memories. I was wide awake and nowhere near tired. I was reading in my living room near the window. From outside, I heard my sister's voice calling for me. She was out all day, out of town. I thought she was just coming by to show me the dresses she picked out to wear to the wedding she's attending this week. Us both being night owls, I thought nothing of it. I heard the voice yell for me again, so I looked out the window. Downstairs, I saw her just standing there looking up into the living room window. She motioned for me to come down, but her body language didn't look like hers. It was rather stiff and her face didn't move as I heard her yell for me again. Figuring she was just too tired to come up, I turned to grab my shoes and head downstairs. But then this is what kept me up all night. My phone went off. It was a phone call coming in from my sister. I answered it to say that I'd be right down. She's always been a rather impatient person, so before she could say anything, I just said, yeah, I see you, I'm coming down. There was a slight pause, and she goes, no, I just got home. You aren't answering my video chat requests. I want to show you my dresses I'm gonna wear. My stomach sank. I looked out the window. What I thought was her wasn't there. I know it would have had to been something trying to imitate her because she called out in her exact voice and inflection, using 2 nicknames that only she uses. Creeped out, I quickly video called her. From her phone camera, I saw the familiar background of her bedroom. I've never felt so unsettled in my whole life. And at number 4, we have The Grove. This story was shared to Reddit by user Hey Johnny Utah. This didn't happen to me, but a very close friend of mine. Patrick's story kept me from going back to a favorite backcountry secret stash. He was leaving the area one morning and had been camping there a couple days and said there was a coyote that always seemed to be close by, like in his peripheral vision, but never overt. He loaded up his truck and started to drive down the wash out to the fire road. At the end of the wash, he could see the coyote following him. When he pulled onto the road, it was running next to him. Now he was freaked out, so he sped up. He said he was going 35 or so and it was running along beside him. Definitely not possible. When he looked back, the coyote was running on 2 legs and was wearing what Patrick said looked like buckskin pants. An instant later, it was a person wearing a coyote fur keeping pace with his truck. When he looked again, it was gone. We never went back to the Grove after that. Too freaky. So you can kind of see the Skinwalker on the Road legends kind of making their way into that one, which is interesting. At number 3, you have a story posted by Punch Drunk AA. So this happened about 12 years ago. My family owns a farm in the heart of an Indian reservation. One winter I was home for Christmas, taking care of the farm while my parents were away Christmas shopping. As I was home by myself, way late in the night, and I hear all the cows freaking out. I knew it had to be the wild dogs that are rampant in the area, so I throw on some boots, grab a shotgun, load it up, and head out to the field. This was a perfect scenario for a horror movie. It was cloudy, but there was a full moon, and it was breaking through the clouds just right to light up all the snow. I ran out into the middle of the field, and just in time, I see 2 dogs. They were standing up, facing each other, and fighting. I think, perfect. 2 for 1. So I pump a shell into the chamber of my 12 gauge and then it happened. The 2 dogs heard the rack. They both stopped, looked over at me and ran away on their back legs. Immediately I froze and every ghost story about skinwalkers and all the other native legends I grew up with flew through my mind. In at number 2, Skinwalker Ranch in Utah is known for its eerie stories surrounding skinwalkers. Over the years, witnesses have reported encountering unidentified flying objects as well, witnessing cattle mutilations, and having first-hand encounters with what really sounds like skinwalkers. Scientific investigations into these strange occurrences have been inconclusive, with researchers unable to provide definitive explanations for these events. The mysteries surrounding Skinwalker Ranch are just too numerous to count. In 1996, the ranch gained significant attention when it was purchased by billionaire businessman Robert Bigelow, who established the National Institute for Discovery Science to study the paranormal activity reported on the property. NIDS conducted research on the ranch, employing a team of scientists and researchers, investigators. Various television shows and documentaries have explored Skinwalker Ranch, cementing it really as this hotbed of paranormal activity. And finally, we have an encounter story that was posted by Weld Form. It goes as follows. We live in an apartment complex at the edge of town in Illinois. Right next to us is a woodsy area full of coyotes and deer and lots of birds, so it's pretty lively. Last night at 3 a.m., she went outside to grab a case of water from the trunk of our car, and when she was grabbing it, she claimed she heard someone say hello in a girl's voice coming from the woods. She couldn't see anything, but she replied back, confused, saying hello back. Whatever it was ended up saying, "Can somebody help me?" And that's when she got the chills and ran as fast as she could back inside our house. Right before she entered the house, she said she heard it again, with the voice getting closer, asking for help. But instead of a normal girl voice, it turned into a girl voice that didn't even sound real. And she couldn't explain the change in that voice. Plus, she said afterwards, thinking about it, that the voice sounded familiar, but couldn't point out whose it was. Why I believe she wasn't BSing is because 2 years living here, we've never talked about things like this. And when she rushed inside, she startled me because her face was in shock. She was breathing heavily, like I thought she'd seen something or heard a gunshot. I don't know.